Welcome to Issues of Contemporary Politics with Dr. Brovkin. Today, my dear friends and subscribers to the channel and the guests who I hope will subscribe, my topic is focusing once again on Zelensky. And the presentation would be under the rubric Zelensky under attack. Now, yesterday I discussed a couple of days ago, I discussed the latest moves of President Putin that are designed to lead to a peace settlement, probably even a treaty. But the other option is a continuation of an invigorated effort to put an end to Zelensky regime. So this is his major trouble, his major focus of danger from Putin and from Russian offensive. But today, I'd like to focus to a danger that is facing President Zelensky, who is actually 2 years no longer officially president. His term expired in May 2024. But I would like to focus on the domestic situation in Ukraine, and most specifically about the so-called Mindage Gate or Mindich tapes. And that is a continuation of a long scandal that started out way back in 2025 with the publication of the tapes that were made by the NABU, which is the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, a semi-independent organization that had been investigating corruption in Ukraine. And it was going very slow because Zelensky obviously has ways and means to put an end to this investigation or to put on the brakes. And it is quite remarkable that now now meaning at the end of a couple of weeks ago, at the end of April, they released another batch of the tapes that were quite extraordinary and revealing. Now, these tapes were made in 2025, and they are made in various locations, but mostly focusing on Timur Mindich. Now, Mindich is an old friend of Zelensky, and they used to work together in the humor satire TV show, which Zelensky and Mindich owned together, or maybe one of them more than the other. But this is the guy from the times of when Zelensky was a comedian in the unit that was called Kvartal 95 or Quarter 95, which produced a whole bunch of humor videos and programs, pretty similar like a stand-up comedy or like Saturday Night Live or something like this in America. So this is the guy that became an important right-hand man of Zelensky when he is president for already so many years. Now, the focus of this particular tapes is huge on many different aspects, but I will focus on one and then the other, the two. That the first one is connected to the company called Firepoint. Now, that company is absolutely incredibly important because this is the on paper it's a private company. In reality, it is owned by the friends of President Zelensky, and it gets 70% of procurement for military needs of the Ukrainian army. So that means huge. Moreover, not only this is the procurement, but it also is in joint production with Britain and France of the missile, which is called Flamingo, and that military specialists say this is just a Ukrainian name, and in fact it's nothing other than Storm Shadow under a different code name. So and of course they produce drones and all kinds of other war material. Now, Mindich as soon as the investigation broke out, fled to Israel in late 2025, and this is where he's hiding to the present time. Obviously, it was not without permission of Zelensky that he fled to Israel at that time. Now, the tapes also include conversations with Mr. Umerov, who at that time was a defense minister. And the defense contractor. Now that already is a conflict of interest. You cannot be an owner of the company that the Ministry of Defense places procurement orders, but that's Ukraine. This is the way it was done. Flamingo missiles was, of course, one of the items that they were involved in. Now, the estimates in these investigations show that there were $7 billion worth of material that was channeled through the company, the PowerPoint company. And that means this is just over a short period of time. But in a longer term, this comes to enormous amounts of money that were coming in from the Europeans or from the Americans, and that they were, processed as financial assets for military purchases or production. And this is where money was siphoned off. It's not only that your friends or through your friends own the company, but you essentially hike up the price, and then the difference goes to you and your friends. This is how Zelensky was running the show. Now, potentially, this is, of course, devastating. This is why Zelensky was putting the brakes on the investigation. The investigation is highly complex, and there's all kinds of data that I have no time to go into. Who wired the money to whom, to which banks it went, and for what kind of purchases. It's a judicial case, and it requires patient going through pages and pages and pages of tapes, investigations, conclusions, and so on. But the bottom line is quite clear, which confirms the earlier Energoatom scandal, when $100 million worth was siphoned off for golden toilets and kinds of other things. But in this case, it's not only that money was siphoned off. There's also in this batch of tapes a second item which I referred to in the beginning, which is the discussion relating to luxury home purchases or construction. So these are conversations that involve Mindich speaking to a woman named Natalia, as a construction person, and they discuss the construction in the cooperative called Dynasty, in the upscale district. It's called Kozyn, riverside on the banks of Dnieper River near Kiev, known for elite properties, and the topics include construction process, facades, conservation, preservation, fencing, security features, all kinds of specifics about the construction of this house. And as of that point, there's nothing particularly incriminating to build a house. Why not? But this is where it comes to be quite extraordinary. The funding for this project is linked to Energoatom conflict of interest and Energoatom scandal of $100 million disappeared money. Moreover, here comes the smoking gun. It mentions by first name Vova, Andriy, and Vova refers to Vladimir or Volodymyr, and that's Zelensky, and Andriy is referring to Andriy Yermak, who was a who was the chief of presidential administration, and because of the scandal, he was supposedly went into retirement or somehow went to the front to fight. He just disappeared from public eye. But sources in Kiev say that he's still very much in control and very much is running Zelensky's affairs. The next person who is mentioned in this luxury home construction is Deputy Prime Minister Chernyshov, who was also a personal friend, and Mindich himself. And these were supposed to be houses built close to each other, Vova and Andriy and others, in this posh neighborhood. Now, again, it would have been nothing if there was no direct link of the money used for the construction of luxury homes from the corrupt money that was identified in the previous investigations. So, what does it all boil down to? It, of course, is a next step. And the question that needs to be answered: who is doing it? Who is behind it? What is the purpose of these investigations? And it's obvious that there are three culprits. Well, obviously, the European Union is one, and I'll come back to it in a second. The second party, which is very much involved, is Poroshenko, the former president, who is very much in the running to replace Zelensky in the future, or by some kind of a criminal investigation, discrediting, resignation, whatever his methods could be. And Kolomoisky, an oligarch who was imprisoned by Zelensky. I think he's still in prison, and he's obviously wants to get back to playing a political role and to secure his properties, and in this way to get rid of Zelensky or clip his wings and his power. Now, the most formidable of those, of course, is the European Union, because the European Union holds the money, and they are probably behind the latest revelations of NABU, Anti-Corruption Bureau. So why is European Union so much involved? This is because of the money. The money they voted to give is 90 billion euros, and I can understand them. They don't want to give it to without any accountability to people who are stealing right and left with their kickbacks and use of public office for personal gain. So they came up with a document which was published in Ukrainian media, Strana.ua, and many other, Kiev Independent, several others. There's nothing particularly secret about it. The document, and I'll read you parts of it because it's quite boring, but nevertheless it shows the intent of the European leaders. I don't blame them. They're entitled to their money and to put conditions to it, but this is what they want from Zelensky. Number one, conduct a reform of criminal procedure legislation that should improve and expedite justice. Number two, to strengthen independence of the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, NABU, and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, SAPO, and expand their jurisdiction to all senior positions in the country. That essentially would mean a tool to control corruption, but also to hold a gun next to their head, that they could initiate an investigation of their misdeeds at any time. Number three, ensure NABU has access to objective, timely and high quality forensic examinations. Number three. So number four, revise the procedure for selecting and dismissal of the prosecutor general. taking into account European practices, and this is the key, with the participation of the Venice Commission. So the Europeans want to be involved themselves, not just rely on the Ukrainians. Number 5, adopt a law on transparent and merit-based selection, appointment, and promotion of prosecutors to leadership and other prosecutorial positions in the office of the Prosecutor General. That means essentially that they control the judicial procedure in Ukraine. Now that's number 5, and then number 6, this is it. The involvement of international experts determined by the European Commission. So the reform, and the 6th one, reform of the State Bureau of Investigation, paying attention to the structure and mechanism for ensuring the integrity of the employees and the oversight function. Number 7, appoint without delay judges of the Constitutional Court and members of the High Court of Justice. And then number 8, and the crucial one, expand the participation of the same international experts in the selection committee. So what it really means is that the European Union wants not only to fight corruption in Ukraine, it wants to take over its judicial procedure. It essentially is not only intervention into domestic affairs of a sovereign state, it is essentially a takeover. What the Europeans are telling Zelensky is, we'll give you the money, but we'll take over at least the judicial, but maybe also the legislative side of the government. You are going to have to play by our rules. This is essentially what it means. If we add to it that in economic affairs, BlackRock has already bought up Ukrainian land, and Rheinmetall is already controlling war production with many other participants spread out all over Europe. And Firepoint is in charge of siphoning off money taken from Europe. You see a very grim picture of Ukraine. You see a corrupt government, a government that captures young men on the streets and throws them into battle, where more than 1 million of them have been died or maimed. And they are making money. They're having a good time, and they're claiming at the doors of Europe, but then they realize the Europeans have their own conditions. In other words, for Zelensky, it's a very, very tough choice. If he tries to keep on fighting, he's going to run out of money, and then Putin will dictate the terms. If he's going to continue on the current path, it's the Europeans who are going to dictate the terms. In either way, he is not likely to win. His end is coming soon. Thank you very much, and I hope you will put your likes and support. If you do like it, please listen to my other playlists. And that is not only war in Ukraine, issues of contemporary politics, but also Soviet history, Russian history, Russia under the Bolshevik regime, about Lenin and Stalin and World War I, World War II, AP European history. Just look at my playlists. And of course, I invite you to purchase my book, From Vladimir Lenin to Vladimir Putin, Russia in Search of Its Identity. And I'll see you very shortly again with another edition of Issues of Contemporary Politics. Goodbye.